Hello everyone, I'm Lauren, welcome back to my channel. For those of you that didn't know, yeah, my name is Lauren. It was raised in one of my previous videos actually, but I've never told you guys my name. So there you go. Not intentionally, I just hadn't thought about it. So I'm in a completely different setting today. I'm at home, and that is because I'm going to be planting my seeds ready to start off indoors. Now, this is a job that I've been a little apprehensive about because for me, it's just all about getting the timing right. Some people are saying, oh, I've got this, that and the other in already, you know, it's growing, I've got propagators, I've got heaters, I've got blah, blah, blah. Other people are like, no, it's far too early, this is full spring, do they call it? We're going to have another frost, you know, it's too early. But I think I've waited enough, I've waited long enough for those people that are saying it's too early. I've waited enough, I've given it another couple of weeks, and I think it's time to get some stuff into pots, in the windowsill to get cracking, because I don't want to fall too far behind. Now, I have tried to be super organised with my seeds this year. I say that. These are my seeds this year, so they are not physically organised. However, I've looked at books, I've planted some stuff in the garden in previous years before I got my allotment, I've read up online, I've seen what other people have been growing. Now, I know with seeds and planting, it really is just down to basically your own microclimate as to when the right time is. So I fully accept that it's going to be a bit of trial and error as to getting the timings right. But I'm going to just give a few things a try and see how we get on. If we have stuff that gets leggy in a couple of weeks, then I will just re-sow it in a couple of weeks' time with the hopes that the next batch won't be quite as leggy. Now, as I say, I've done spreadsheets, so I've got a full spreadsheet of every single seed packet with the name variety that I own. I've got when I need to plant it, indoors, outdoors, harvest, move it, etc, etc, etc. And I've also done a journal. So this is my gardening journal that I've had for a couple of years, but I've never used it because I've been saving it for when I got an allotment. So at the moment, what I've done is at the back of each month on my to-do list, I've got a list of the things that I want to sow in that month or thereabouts. So that if I'm in, say, February, as we are now, I can flick back to January knowing that I haven't sown anything yet, but I can see what I should have sown in January and I can just catch up with that now. Likewise, if the weather is looking really good, there might be something that at the end of February I want to sow, which should be sown in March. So I'll just play it by ear and see how we get on. The spreadsheet that I've got is far more extensive, I should say. It really goes into detail about everything. But I'm going to go with my journal just for now because I know it's just the basics that I'm going to get in. Just your standard sort of tomatoes, peas, spring onions, that sort of thing. So if you've seen, I think it was just on Instagram that I put it, but I went and did a little garden centre haul the other day, and I'm going to be using those bits today. The seeds, I've been slowly accumulating them over the last sort of year really. As I've been growing in the garden, I was buying more seeds. Then when I got my allotment, I went through and had a look at what I eat and therefore what I want to grow. And also I picked up a kitchen garden magazine and there were tons of free seeds with it. So some of them I do have duplicates of, but that's absolutely fine. And some of them are just new things that I'm going to give a go. So I picked these up from the garden centre. They're made of wood pulp, so they're biodegradable. My aim is to just trial stuff, see how I get on, see what works for me, what doesn't work for me. Give everything a little try. So these, I think I'm gonna, I'm gonna use these for stuff that has very delicate roots. So the idea is that you plant your seeds into here, you let it grow into a little sort of seedling plant, and then you transfer it straight into the ground in the pot, and the pot will biodegrade in the ground. That's brilliant for plants that you know have very delicate roots and you don't want to disturb them, because you don't need to take them out of the pot. However, off the top of my head, I don't know which plants they are. So I'll probably just chuck a couple in here. And then the rest of the stuff I'm going to pop into these. So these are half seed trays that I also grabbed from the garden centre. These are plastic, so if these work better, that would be preferable, even though they're wrapped in plastic. These have got holes in the bottom to let the water drain out. So then I've got these half seed trays for them to go into. I'm pretty certain these were from Wilkinson's, and off the top of my head, they weren't very expensive at all. Around the £1 mark, they might have even been less. And then I've also got sort of a double size one. That one I've had for a really long time, like quite a few years, and I can't remember where it's from. That one, I don't know where the inserts have gone from it. I have had a look in the garden, but I can't find them. And the inserts do also have like the little clear lids that go on the top. But again, I can only find one of those. So I'm just going to see how I get on. I think I need to raid my shed in the garden. But yeah, so I've got all of my seeds out for stuff that I'm going to sow today. There might be additional stuff that I sow over the next couple of days. I need more trays to put seeds in, but these are just the things that I thought they're easy to sow. I probably won't do all of these on camera, but I'll go through what I'm sowing today. And then, this looks very organised, but I was just very keen to do something garden related quite a few weeks ago. I think it was possibly even when we had snow. So I went through and I wrote down all of the labels for all of the different types of seeds that I have and that I'm growing this year. There are a ton. Now again, these are plastic, they're not ideal, but again, I bought them a few years ago and I'd never used them. They were just in the shed. So I want to use these ones for as long as I can, and then I will look at something a little more sustainable going forward. This is when I didn't know any better. And the compost that I've got, the compost that I've got is actually open. I've split it so that it's ready for today. This is Levington's peat free, which was my #1 priority really, and it's seed and cutting compost. And then, it's so heavy. Then I've also got a little watering can of water ready to wet the soil. I've got a dibber to make some holes in said soil. And then, sorry if that angle changed slightly, I just had to get up and I knocked the table. And then I've got this, which is an old milk carton that I've cut in half, and I'm going to just use it to hopefully scoop out the compost, but we'll see how easy that actually is to use. I've just washed it out and yeah, we'll see how I get on with that. So I'm going to try these ones first. So we've got 2 of these trays in this full tray, I suppose. So what I'm sowing is spring onions. Now this pouch is empty because I did grow quite a lot of spring onions last year actually, and they were very successful. I'm growing sweet pepper, and these are California Wonder. These peppers are sweet Corno di Toro Rosso. That was a terrible accent. But yeah, they are sweet peppers too, and they were from the Kitchen Garden magazine. Brussels sprouts, which are called Evesham Special. And again, they're open because I did sow them last year and I planted them out and they all got eaten because I didn't cover them. So that was lesson learnt. I've got cauliflower all year round. I have heard mixed reviews about this kind of cauliflower in regard to taste, but we will see what it's like. But yeah, again, that was from Kitchen Garden magazine. Then I have got so many tomatoes. which was sort of accidental, sort of on purpose. I love growing tomatoes. They're one of the things that I've really been able to grow successfully in the garden. Touch wood, in the garden, I've never had blight. So I'm hoping that my good luck will continue with that. So the free pack that I had from Kitchen Garden magazine were, is it Marmande? Never heard of those before, but they look quite big, sort of beefy tomatoes, which is quite nice. Tomato, these are an F1 variety, but they're called Shirley's. And they're from Premier Seeds Direct. Again, they're open. They're the ones that I grew last year and I absolutely love them. And I think I even grew them the year before. I started growing tomatoes in lockdown, number one. Yeah, and Shirley's, I have a friend who has an allotment, and they were coming to mine, not in a lockdown, may I add, needless to say. But they were coming to mine when a lockdown had lifted. And they gifted me a couple of Shirley tomato plants. They were young, and they gifted them to me, and absolutely loved them. They were absolutely delicious, so definitely growing those again. These are also an F1 variety from Premier Seeds. They're Sweet Million tomato seeds. And then these peas from Just Seeds, which I think, can't remember where I got them from. I've got a funny feeling they're from Amazon. But the variety of these seeds is Petit Pois Wave Rex, I think is called. Love these as well. These were another thing that I grew in lockdown, and they went absolutely wild, but I've never had a pea make it to the table because I've eaten them all straight from the garden. So I'm gonna sow quite a few plants this year, because I absolutely love them. They're a firm favourite all around my family. We really love fresh peas in particular. So yeah, these will be all over my garden, my allotment, I'd imagine, and I'll probably do some in my garden as well because I just love them. So let's get cracking. I'm a bit nervous, like I've never sown a seed before. So I'm going to do, I know that you have to be careful what you sow with what. So I'm going to do, just trying to work out my trays now. So I'm going to use these pots in these, because the green ones don't fit inside. So I'm going to do these ones first, and I think I'm going to do my tomatoes and my peppers. I'm just thinking about how they grow and the climate that they like. I think tomatoes and peppers are going to be most similar, so I'll keep those together. So I'm going to just fill these trays up with some compost. And then I'm just going to add some water to these trays. Now, one of the things that I never used to know was whether to water before or after. Now, I'm going to water before I put the seeds in, because I find if I water after, all of the soil moves around and I don't get my straight lines of seeds, which is really important that I do get those straight lines, given I'm going to be planting different things, different varieties into these trays. And then what I'm going to do first is, I think I'm going to do some tomatoes. Now, do I want to go this way or that way? This way, I think. Okay, so first one I'm going with is my tomato Shirley F1s. And I've only just actually realised or thought about the fact that these are F1s, and I was going to save seed from my tomatoes last year, and I didn't. Oh, how many have I got left? Yeah, good job I didn't try and save the seed, because if you try and save the seed of an F1 tomato, basically F1 variety means that it's like a mix of different varieties, and you will never then, I've only got 3 of those left, so that's how much I liked those, so I will need to buy some more of those. But yeah, so if you try to save the seed from an F1 variety of any plant, they either won't grow again from the F1 variety, or you won't actually get that same variety. So even though you sow the seed from an F1 tomato plant, you won't get necessarily another of the same variety of that plant. Does that make sense? So F1 seeds from seeds from an F1 plant don't make another of the same variety. I don't even know if that makes sense. But yeah, so I've just pulled off my label that I've already made, which is why I love to pre-make them, because it just makes this process so much quicker. Next one that I've got is tomato sweet million, and again these ones are F1 variety. I don't think I can get that to focus, but here we are. I really need to organise my seeds better, and I don't know what I want to do with them. Okay, so what was that? Sweet million. Another label. Straight in. Oh, this is exciting. Loving this. What else do I have? I've got my sweet peppers. Have I got any other tomatoes? Yes, I've got these ones, haven't I? My Marmande. No, that's my sweet pepper. Where's my tomatoes gone? There they are. So now I'm doing these ones, which are my kitchen garden magazine ones. Oh my word, way too many. Oh, I've just dropped a rogue one there. Don't want that. Okay, so these are just to get me started. So I'm just doing sort of 4, 5 of each, and then I'll see how they germinate. But these tomatoes in particular, you can sow indoors right the way up to sort of halfway through April, depending on the weather. So I have got plenty of opportunity, but I don't want to be overrun by plants, given the space that I've got this year. So I'm just going to do a few and just see how we get on. And then I've always got sort of a month and a half really to decide if I want more. So I think I'm going to leave those ones in there. I should have spaced them out a little better, but I think I'm just going to do tomatoes in there. And then I'm going to do my peppers. So I've got 2 varieties of sweet peppers. One is your sort of round bell pepper, and then these ones are the longer peppers that look a bit like chilies to me, but it definitely is a sweet pepper. So I'm going to do the California Wonder, which is my bell pepper first off, and I absolutely love these. bell peppers, that is. I don't know if these are actually nice, this variety, but we'll see. I've grown bell peppers before. I bought a couple of plants from a garden centre, but I just didn't do very well in the garden, which I think is partly because I just had a really tiny space to grow in. I sort of had one bed really to grow all of my plants in, which is possible, to grow a good variety of stuff, but not for me. Okay, so I'm just going to do 4 of those as well. Again, these can be planted indoors. It says on the back of the packet up until April, but you know, you take it based on your experience really. I've poured water all over the garden I've just seen. And then now I'm having a go with these ones that I couldn't say out loud because I killed the pronunciation. What were those? They were sweet peppers. What did I just plant? California Wonder. This is why I need to label everything, because I forget even 2 seconds after I've done it. Oh my gosh. And then I'm just going to cover these with compost and let that ferment. I hope I've done it right. I mean, how hard can it be? But I'm just worried I've got it wrong. So they're done, and I'm going to place those in a sunny place on the windowsill at home, and basically watch them every second until they germinate. But I'm going to switch over now to some of my other seeds. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to fill these with soil. These are annoying me like this because I feel like I'm just wasting loads of space. But I'm going to get 4 more things in here. So I've done all of these. I'm going to move them out of the way so I can see what I've got left. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to keep these pots in these particular trays because I do feel like they're wasting quite a lot of space because you can't fit another row. But for now they will do. Okay, so left over I've got spring onion, which I think I could do, which totally defeats the object of these pots. But I think I could do 2 spring onion in each of these pots and they would still grow quite nicely together. And then I've got Brussels sprouts, I've got my peas, my petit pois, and I've got my cauliflower. So I'm going to do a row of each of those for now, which isn't a lot of sowing, but again, just going to see how I get on. Let's do spring onion first, and as I say, I'm going to do 2 spring onions in each of these. Then I'm going to do my Brussels sprouts. Going to do my cauliflower next. And again, I'm going to just cover those with some more compost. My final little thing that I'm actually going to do, and you can do this with, I say this like I'm a pro, but you can do this with things like butter tubs that have been used and things like that. So this is the bottom of the milk carton. I've obviously used the top to pour out my compost today, which has actually been really useful. I've not got too much on the table, albeit I have got a little bit on there. But I'm just going to use this as a tray for my peas and see how I get on. Oh, these are really annoying to pull apart. So I can get another 3 peas in there now. There you go, 4 at a push. I do have spare labels of these ones, and my pen to write on these is upstairs, so I'll go and label those when I take these upstairs. So that's 4 more pea plants that I can get in already, which is great. There you go, another 4 plants. Okay, so there we have it. My other half is due home any second, and I need to tidy up before he thinks I've turned the kitchen into a shed. So yeah, so that's the start of my seeds. It certainly won't be the last. I will sow some more just as soon as I get some more trays to put the seed trays into, so we don't get water everywhere. yeah, I think that went quite well, I think. But who knows? It really is all trial and error at the moment. And let's see if they germinate over the coming weeks. But I hope you've enjoyed today's video and are enjoying the progress that I'm making on the plot. I'm very, very much looking forward to seeing these little seedlings poke their heads out of the soil, fingers crossed, because that will really feel like the start of the growing season then. Even though it's all been really the start of the growing season, you know, even down to making the beds and getting rid of the weeds, that's all been a part of the growing season, and I won't be able to grow if I hadn't have done that. So although those things have felt a bit boring and a bit tedious at times, they have absolutely been a needs must to be able to get to where I am today. And I think, you know, I got my plot in September, so I'm 5 months in, and yeah, haven't had a true growing season yet, but let's see how I get on. So thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one, hopefully. Don't forget to give me a like and a subscribe, and comment down below, what are you sowing this month? Thanks. Bye bye.